In this episode, we're going to be talking about the It's George brand of cues. Started in 1989 by Mike Roberts, It's George also produced cases to start off with, and they gained such a great popularity that Mike Roberts decided that he wanted to produce cues and offer a cue case combo. Mike Roberts got the help of Bill Schlick to set up the It's George cue making shop and teach the employees how to run the machines. Bill Schlick did hand engrave the first 10 or 12 cues. They didn't have the stamp yet for It's George, so the first 10 or 12 are hand engraved, and I have a picture of the engraving I'll show now. This is the first logo for It's George, all straight lines engraved by Bill Schlick on the first 10 or 12 cues. So there's a little bit of a deal to the It's George logo. So Bill Schlick engraved the first 10 to 12, and then they got the stamp. Then I'm not sure how many or approximately how many cues were produced with the first stamp of It's George. And then the stamp was stolen. And while the stamp was stolen, they put a logo on the forearm that said George 94. I have a picture of that too. I'll show you right now. This is the George 94 logo, which is 1 year only. And this is while they were waiting on the new stamp to come in. So I have 4 It's George cues here right now, and 3 of them appear to have the same stamp on them, and 1 has the George 94 logo on the forearm. Well, the first 1,000 cues were numbered on the weight bolt, engraved. And when they started the numbering, Mike Roberts started the numbers at a 100. So 100 was the first cue, 101 was the second cue, 102 was the third cue, I guess. But he started at 100, so maybe 101 was the first cue. Well, I have 283, number 687, number 1043, which would be the 943rd cue, and 283 would be the 183rd cue made, and 687 would have been the 587th cue made. So I have 3 cues with It's George stamps on them. 2, the 183rd, the 587th, and then I have a cue, an It's George cue from after 94 that has the stamp on the butt, and it has rings, silver rings at A and B. It doesn't have white dashed rings. The silver rings, they started after 94 when they got the new stamp. They started the silver rings. So that's the youngest cue, is the one with the silver rings, and that would probably put it between 95 and 97, which is when Mike Roberts stopped making cues, although he did make a few custom cues in 98. We're about to look at each cue individually. This is It's George cue 283, which is the 183rd It's George made. It has split diamonds with a pink ivory wood insert on a solid ebony point. It is very nice. Here's the weight bolt. This is the It's George 687, which is the 587th cue made. It is an ebony butt with ebony points on a gray stained forearm. Very nice old It's George. Here's the weight bolt. This is the George 94. It has ivory inlays in the butt and in the points, and it has a soft joint that is not an ivory material, something that Mike Roberts and Bill Schlick came up with on their own. Ivory Tech, I believe, is the name. Here's the weight bolt. The last It's George Q was made somewhere between 95 and 97, and you can tell by the silver rings at A and B that date it. And you don't see many with the veneers. This is a very nice example of the later It's George. And weight bolts after 1,000 weren't numbered, so the 95 through 97 Qs aren't numbered. The early It's George butt material was a white, almost translucent material, as you can see in the video here. The later material was like opaque. Now, the early It's Georges also used that translucent butt material for ferrules. Now, it's said in my research, I seen where Bill Schlick overseen the construction of the first 1,000 Qs, and the numbers would be 100 through 1,100 for that 1,000 Qs. And they were numbered, and then it was left up to Mike Roberts' employees to make them. And I have read where there is a difference in the hit, like it is noticeable different. I don't know if the construction was different, if they changed stuff, if they, did stuff a little different after the first 1,000, but they seem to be said that they are different feeling Qs. The oldest It's George Q I have is a 21 ounce, and the youngest It's George I have is 18.8. And the newest 95, 96, 97 model It's George is a smaller diameter butt than the three older It's Georges. Even the 94 is larger in diameter as far as the butt goes, which probably has a lot to do with the weight difference, but it is different. That's it for this video on It's George Qs. Keep watching for other videos. They're coming. Thanks for watching.